Welcome in, DIYers. Today we're going to be talking about 4 tips for drywall finishing for beginners. Tip number 1, use all-purpose mud. The reason you want to use all-purpose mud is it dries a lot slower. A lot of times you'll see guys who've been doing it for a long time use the bags that you mix the powder with water, and a lot of times those have a setup time of 20 minutes or 45 minutes, and quite frankly for beginners, that's just not quite enough time to get the mud on the wall the way you need to. You've got to really get a feel for it. So it's best to use a slow drying all-purpose mud so that you can work with it and really get the finish that you want on that wall. Tip number 2, tape every joint. Every joint, every seam where 2 pieces of drywall come together, you want to make sure that you tape that. Whether it be a corner, whether it be where the ceiling meets the wall, you want to make sure you tape that joint. Now, with taping drywall, there's a few key things. First, you put drywall mud behind it for the tape to stick to the wall. Once you have it there, you want to pull a putty knife or a drywall knife with a lot of pressure across that. You really want to squeeze out all the mud from behind it. If you think you're pressing too hard, I promise you, you're not. You need to apply a lot of pressure. The places where you screwed the drywall into the studs, they also need mud. Now, they don't need the same attention that the drywall joint does, but they do need mud on every one of them. Tip number 3, take your time. We're on day 2 now. We've let it set up overnight, and we're going to put on a second coat of mud with a larger mudding knife. So we started with a 4-inch, and that is my personal preference. Now, a lot of people start with a 6-inch, go to a 10-inch, then a 12-inch. I personally start with a 4-inch, go to a 6-inch, then to a 10-inch. The less amount of mud you have, the less sanding you're going to have to do. But take your time, be patient, make sure you get it just right. It's going to make your sanding a lot easier. There's a common misconception that you have to sand between each coat of mud. That is simply not true. If you do it right, with thin, smooth coats, you don't have to sand between each coat. So we're now moving on to day 3. Now you do want to take a putty knife or a mudding knife between coats and just kind of run it along everywhere where you've put mud. Any rough spots, any raised spots, you just kind of want to knock those down so your next coat of mud goes on smooth. But sanding between each coat is just extra work and extra cleanup. So now for our 3rd coat, we've moved up to a 10-inch knife. So we are applying the putty back over everything again. And we're going to use the 10-inch knife to get a wider transition along that joint so that each layer is just a little bit wider and feathered out. Then we're going to use a 6-inch knife to get a wider transition over all the screw holes.
All right, so here we are inside of our plastic wrapped room here. So that we can sand this drywall and make sure that the dust doesn't go everywhere and cause a big mess. So yes, I am going to look a little bit like a terrorist. I'm going to have my respirator on, my goggles, long sleeves, anything to try to keep the dust off of me and out of my eyes and out of my lungs. You definitely want to make sure safety is key here. You don't want this stuff getting in your lungs, all right? So make sure you take proper safety precautions.
Tip number 4, don't sand too much.
You're not looking to sand this down a whole lot. If you've done the mudding correctly, you just need to knock off some of the edges. Everything else should be pretty smooth as long as you use the right amount of pressure. If not, you may need to sand a little bit more. Now when you come to your tape joints, it's very important that you don't sand too deep. If you sand too deep and get into that tape, you've got to tear it out, redo it again. You've got to remud, you've got to do everything. If you sand that tape, you have to retape. Once it's exposed, you don't want to do that. So don't sand too heavy. Well, the sanding is done. You should have a nice, smooth finish, nice, smooth transition, no bumps, no divots, nothing like that. But once you prime this, this will be all covered up. All that mud will be covered up. You'll be ready to paint.
We all know it's best to take off your switch covers and outlet covers. Just makes cut-in way easier. But the second tip is to go ahead and remove any pictures or shelving from the walls so that you don't have to cut in around all that kind of stuff. Pictures come off real easy. Shelving is usually just a couple nails or screws. Pull those off. It makes it go so much quicker. Tip number 3, before you even start cutting in, grab you a paper towel or a rag, clean off the baseboards. There's going to be dust, there's going to be different things on there. You don't want that getting in your paint if you happen to just bump it. Clean that off so it's a nice smooth finish. Tip number 4, cut in around all your trim, your baseboards, your door casings, everything. And don't forget to cut in your corners. Side note, take your time with the cut in. You don't have to rush it. This is the part that's going to save you time in the long run if you just go slow and be patient now. It's important to remember to cut in your corners. We've got the baseboards cut in, but the corners are very important. You want to make sure those are cut in on both sides so that when you roll, you don't have to go all the way to the corner and get wet, runny paint coming down. You cut those in, and then you can roll it nice and smooth. Tip number 5, don't be afraid to tape something if you're not confident in your cutting abilities around it. This baseboard heater, I'm going to go ahead and tape it. There's no harm in that. There's no reason to try to cut in something that I may not be able to. And frog tape is the best if you're going to use tape. Nice, clean, crisp lines. Sometimes a little bit of prep work can make a world of difference. You want to make sure you get your roller coated nice and heavy with the paint. You don't want it to be dry. You want there to be a good amount of paint on the roller. Now that the cut-in's all done, it's time for the fun part, rolling it on. I hope these tips were helpful to you. Now, go find something to paint and have some fun.